All right. Well, hello, good morning, and welcome to our first session of our TrendSoft user group event. My name is Bobby Haggard, and I'm one of the consultants here at TrendSoft. Let's first make sure everyone is logged into the correct session. You've been tuned into the session titled Why Switching to Dynamics GP Hosting. In this jam-packed session, we'll be covering several topics, including the future timeline of GP, upgrading to the latest version. We'll discuss features that all GP clients should implement and discuss options on how to have GP act like a cloud solution. Another important topic we'll be covering is why you should think about migrating to Business Central, and we'll show you a few of the differences there between the two plans. Now, before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping notes before we jump in here. First up, we've gone ahead and muted all of the background phones to try and keep down some of that background noise. If you have a question, which we absolutely encourage, please use the Q&A feature of the Zoom webinar tool. Our team will be managing those questions, and we'll have some time at the end of the session here to answer any of your questions. If you have a question after the event, feel free to reach out to our TrendSoft team directly, and we'll be happy to get in touch with you. Secondly, if you would like the presentation slides or the video recording, just drop your email into the Q&A. Our team will know exactly what that means, and we'll be sure to get those to you once they become available. Finally, don't forget, at the conclusion of this session, you will receive an evaluation. If you fill that evaluation out, you'll be registered for our giveaway, which we'll announce the winners of next week. All right, with that, let's jump right in. So as you saw upon registration for this user group, there are several other sessions as noted here. If you have not had a chance to register for one of our future sessions for IT security or the BC session, please visit our website, trendsoft.com, and register. If you are unable to join one of these sessions, but again, you're interested, we are recording these, and once we get those posted, we'll be happy to share those with you as well. All right, so before we get started, let's quickly hit on who we are as TrendSoft, as I see that there are a couple of new to TrendSoft names on the attendee list. So first up, we were founded in 1996, and we've since achieved the highest level of Microsoft certification available, being recognized as a gold certified Microsoft ERP partner. In the last several years, we've been recognized by Accounting Today as one of the top 100 VARs, or value-added resellers, within the industry. Currently have about 200 active clients in roughly 17, 18, 19 states. And throughout our 25 plus years of existence, we've been able to create and develop some pretty structured processes for installations, project management, that have really helped our clients to be more efficient throughout the project by saving them time, money, and other resources along the way. We do consider ourselves experts in Microsoft's business platform, and we do all things related to ERP installations, project management, general support, upgrades and migrations, customizations, reporting, online learning databases, automation, integration, and more. When you partner with TrendSoft, we provide access to an online support database with training courses, our online Jira support desk, and much, much more. Now, in talking about automation and integration, I wanted to quickly mention our sister company, TrendDocs. As you see here, they specialize in automating the full procure-to-pay cycle. The TrendDocs team can assist with anything from requisitions to payables and workflows to payment automation. Now, if your team is not already using a portion or all of the services TrendDocs has to offer throughout the P2P cycle, listed here are 10 reasons why your organization should consider accounts payable automation. I obviously don't plan to go through all of these. However, I did want to hit on a couple of the big ones. First up is the biggest benefit of TrendDocs, in my opinion, and that's their flexibility. Their tagline is automation as unique as you. A few other reasons that jump out here is that TrendDocs can offer three-way PO matching. TrendDocs can help with ERP licensing needs. And then finally, they offer free and unlimited transactions and documents. So there's no caps, no transaction fees when you partner with TrendDocs. All right, if you're interested in learning more about any one of these TrendDocs solutions, let me know and I'll be happy to get you in touch with the proper people on the TrendDocs team. All right, let's jump into this session for Dynamics GP. I'd like to introduce Matt Wood. Matt is our Dynamics Director and Team Lead. Matt has been working with Dynamics for over 11, almost 12 years now, and has lots of great experience with things from Dynamics GP, Dynamics Nav, Business Central, and Power BI. So this time I'm going to turn things over to Matt and let you take it away. Matt?
All right, thanks, Bobby. As Bobby said, this is Matt Wood. Session here is going to be on Dynamics GP and the cloud. So we'll talk about what we can do with GP in the cloud. So first thing, let's go over our agenda. So we'll start out, we're going to look at the Dynamics GP roadmap. We'll talk about GP in the cloud. We'll talk about hosting pros and cons, hosting options, and then we'll finish up with just a quick discussion on Dynamics Business Central, another product in the Dynamics family. All right, so first of all, we looked at this probably about a year ago, and it has not changed. So we've got a roadmap here that kind of shows us what Microsoft's plans are for GP. The good news for anybody that does like GP and wants to stick with GP, it does not, looks like there's no immediate plans for a sunsetting of the product or selling it off to somebody else. It looks like it's going to stay in that Microsoft Dynamics umbrella. But if we look through this, you can see if you're running GP 2013, 2013 R2, extended support, so our mainstream support is no longer there. So meaning especially for your payroll customers out there, since there's no more mainstream support, you cannot run that with payroll. But there is extended support, so they will be releasing updates just strictly for security purposes. So no new features will be released on these. No payroll updates, no 1099 updates. It's just strictly for security. And then same thing now for GP 2015 and 2015 R2. That mainstream support ended April 2 years ago. Extended support does go out through 2025. If you're running 16 and 16 R2, again, mainstream support is over for those, so no more mainstream support for those. But extended support does go out through 2026. 2018 R2, mainstream support still ongoing till the end of this year. So basically, you'll get one more payroll update, 1099 update with these, and then that'll be the last year. After that, you'll need to move into the new version, and extended support all the way out through 2028. Now, if you look below this, we can see that GP has moved into what Microsoft calls the modern lifecycle. And they plan to go all the way out. They've got it out till 2028. And you notice it says and beyond down there below my picture there. So that is the plan for GP. So it is looks like it's going to stay. They will be releasing updates using that modern lifecycle. So let's talk a little bit about what that modern lifecycle means. So it is only the current version. So they only will release updates for the current versions, and they will release 3 releases per year. Those are typically going to fall in the June, October, and December timeframes. The October release will include new features, so they do plan to release new features. Now, I don't think you'll see, when we talk about Business Central, for example, they're releasing new features at a rapid rate. This will be a little bit slower, a little bit more zoned into what customers have asked for on those new releases. The June and December will include your hot fixes. So if there's a bug in the system, they will release something to fix those in that June and December timeframe. And then tax updates and regulatory updates usually in that December timeframe. So many of you that have used payrolls or 1099s, you'll know that a lot of times there is an update that has to be done at the end of the year. And that's what will be done in that December release. So that's our modern lifecycle there. That is the model that GP will be moving to, and they have moved to that already. All right, so a topic here is GP in the cloud. So first thing, let's kind of just go through the history of GP here and talk about what that means for cloud deployments. So GP was not designed for a cloud deployment. When it was released, it was a pre-Microsoft product. It was not designed to be put in the cloud. Of course, back then, cloud wasn't even a thing. So it was not designed for that. And there are no plans to change the design for a cloud/web-based system. So whereas you saw another product by Microsoft, Dynamics Nav or Dynamics AX, they've released cloud-hosted versions, web-based versions. There are no plans to do that for GP, and there's no plans to change the layout or anything like that would make it more user-friendly in the web-based system. And if anybody's used that web client, it's not the the best option for trying to use GP. So that's important to note. There is no plans to change that. So we're not going to see, in 5 years down the road, there's not going to be a release of, hey, here's GP for the cloud. That's not going to happen, at least as of now for Microsoft. But this does not mean you cannot run GP in a cloud environment. You can absolutely install the app out on a cloud-hosted Azure, hosting.com, Amazon, whatever that may be that you want to use. But you can definitely install that and then have your database in the cloud and then have your users access the application as well out there in a cloud environment. So we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Okay, so as we kind of move into how we can connect to GP. So first of all, and these are remote. So obviously we can install the app on a local machine inside of our network. We can launch GP and run it just like that. This is more focused for remote connections. And the first one there I've got listed there is local install using a VPN to connect to GP. So if I'm not in the office, which, over the last few years we haven't been, and flexibility has become a very hot topic as far as getting talent and acquiring talent and keeping talent. But if I don't have a cloud hosted, I could always install GP just like I would always on a local machine, my laptop, desktop, whatever that may be. And then I can use a VPN to connect to GP. So that VPN is going to bring me into our work network, and then I can connect to GP just like as if I was sitting at the office. A couple things with that I found over the years here with the VPN, especially recently. Number one is the security with a VPN. There are some potential gaps in the security there. Anytime we're connecting to that VPN, we're using our home network or whatever to connect up into our work network. And if something were to be compromised either at home, somebody gets a hold of my computer, they connect to that VPN, now they have access to our work network. So that leaves a little bit of a gap there in security and allows somebody to access my network, even if I'm not on that network, even if I'm on my home network and they can tunnel through. The other one is performance. I think anybody that's used that VPN with GP has noticed that there's a noticeable difference in the performance, whether that is trying to run a long report, run a smart list that's got a lot of records, exporting that to Excel, whatever that may be, the performance just is not as good over the VPN when we add those layers in. We also know, GP has a notorious issue if you lose connection, let's say while I'm posting, where something might go to batch recovery, or I get the dreaded one-sided entry, or something posted to the subledger doesn't make it to the GL. And we're just adding an additional layer there that could cause this to happen. So when I have that VPN, if my work network, if I lose connection to that, my home network goes down, or I just lose connection to the VPN, I can have problems. I can even have those problems if I'm at the office and I have a hiccup in my network. But this just adds another layer to that and causes us issues when we're connected to that VPN. Also with the local install, we obviously have servers that we have to keep up for our database. So we have to keep those up to date. Every 3 to 5 years, we're going to probably have to replace those. There's a lot of cost involved getting those set back up. Also, if my servers were to crash, then I could be down for however long it takes me to order a server, have it come in, replace it. So there is some issues there with having to have that servers. Another one on maintenance here, all computers must have an install. So if I've got 30 users that are using GP, I'm going to have to touch every one of those computers and install GP. And that's not just when they first start or I first get a new machine. If I do an update, like we talked about year end, where I've maybe got a 1099 update or a payroll update, if I've got to do an upgrade, all those computers then have to be touched again. So let's say it takes 30 minutes to do that. You've got 30 computers. That's a lot of time. That's 15 hours that you're going to have to be touching all those computers. So that's another issue with that local install. All right, so the next one I'm going to talk about is the terminal server using an RDP connection. So this is still not hosted, but we're moving a little bit more towards that. So again on this, so I would install my database server just like I always did, and then I might have 1, 2, 3 terminal servers that I install the local client. So it does help with all the computers must have an install from above. Now I'm maybe just dealing with 3. And then all my users are going to actually RDP remote desktop connect up into that server to use GP. So again, a couple of simple issues with that. Performance again can be a problem with that because I'm not using my local computer to do the work. I'm RDPing. If I want to print, if I'm looking to use SmartList or whatever that may be, it just doesn't feel like I'm using my local computer. And it's obvious when I go to try to print or whatever it may be, and I have to configure all that. Again, servers is another thing. We still have the on-premise servers. So again, the same things applies that I just talked about. 3 to 5 years, we're going to have to update those servers. Servers crash, we're in trouble. And then we're going to have terminal servers also up and running. So again, the hardware that goes involved with that. We need that terminal server licensing. So not only do we need the GP license, we also have to have terminal server licensing to run that. We also have some issues with the Office integration. So if I'm looking to export to Excel, I also have to have Office out on that terminal server and licensed correctly so that people can use that. And again, if I have to save that file or whatever it may be, I'm not on my local computer. So that leads to issues. All right, a couple other options here. We've got our hosted environment with remote services. So this would be, now I'm in hosted, so my servers are up in Azure. Let's say it's in Azure. And I've got that database server installed, and then I might have a server that my users access to connect. So we have still some of the problems that we have with the terminal server here. Same issues that we had with terminal server. So I still have Office integration limitations because, again, I'm using a different machine to access GP. So it's not on my local machine. It doesn't feel like it's on my local machine. I'm still using a remote desktop and I'm connecting. So same issues apply. If I'm trying to use Excel, I also have to have Office licensed up there. One advantage, though, is I do not have local installs anymore. So I do not have to have a situation where I'm doing a lot of local installs. It's when I do an upgrade, I'm going to really just touch one machine and update that, and then all my users will be updated. I still do need terminal licenses. So because I'm doing remote desktop, it's similar to a terminal server, so I'm still having to use those terminal licenses. And then printer integrations are tough. So if I'm up in the cloud and I need to print to a local machine, there is issues with that, trying to get those printers mapped, especially like if I'm doing check print or whatever it may be. I'm going to have issues connecting up to that, to those printers. So while I get some of the advantage of the hosted world, my database is up there, no local installs. I can connect from anywhere. I don't need a VPN or anything like that. There still are some limitations if I'm just using a remote, or if I'm just using a hosted with remote services. So the last one I'm going to talk about here is kind of a new technology. We probably talked about it about a year ago, but it's kind of becoming more mainstream, and that's the Microsoft Virtual Desktop. So what this is a tool that Microsoft's released. It goes with Azure, and it allows you to basically configure a desktop that's virtual for your users. And as they start, you can just give them a link and they'll connect. And I'll show you that here in just a second. And they have all the apps that they would need to do their work. The good news about it is it feels much more like a local computer feel. So it feels more like I've got this app installed on my computer and I'm just using it just like I would if I installed it right there on my laptop. Office 365, the licenses come with the Office 365. It's an addition to that Office 365. But what that means is I have the ability to use the Excel that's installed on my computer. I no longer have to have separate licensing for those Office products. Printers, same thing. So I'm just using my printer right from my local machine. I'm not having to do any configuration to move local printers up to the cloud or whatever it may be. Again, no local install. So this is a one-time, I install GP. TrendSoft installs it out on a hosted server, and that's how your users connect. So when we do an upgrade, we're literally just doing one we're just touching one machine and we're done. Can cut the upgrade cost almost in half, because now I don't have these 15 hours that I'm having to go out there and touch every single machine. And I don't have to worry about this computer might not be working and this one is, or my set files are different, or I have different reports dictionaries. Now I just have everything together, and I don't have those shared files. And as I mentioned a minute ago, so multiple apps. So I can connect to multiple different, it doesn't just have to be GP. We're talking about GP here, but it could be anything. If you have a fixed assets system that you're using, maybe you have a payroll system that you're using, all of those could be installed and have that one local feel but easy maintenance. All right, so I'm going to show the virtual desktop here. So this is what it looks like. This is the app. You can see here, I've got two. So this is my mwood@Trendsoft email. Here's what I have access to through that. We used Dynamics Nav or BC internally. So we do use this product for our internal accounting. And this is what we would launch to use that. Now, if we come down here, this is my demo. And you can see here's all the different products that we've made available for me to connect to. Obviously, we're focusing on GP, but as I log in for the first time, if I come up here, there it goes. I have this subscribed. So what's going to happen is I'm going to click on subscribe. I'm going to log in with just my Office 365 account. And then as soon as I do that, all my apps are going to show up here. So again, if I have a new person coming on onboarding and we say, okay, it's Matt in accounting, we know Matt needs these apps because he's in accounting. We'll utilize groups and roles, and you'll tell us, okay, Matt's starting, he's in accounting. We'll go in, we'll say, okay, Matt's in the accounting group, and as soon as he subscribes, he can see all these apps that he needs to do his job. And then it's as simple as just launching the application. And you can see it just opens GP up right here, just like it would if I was on my local machine. So how quick that was too, almost faster than even if I had that installed locally. I'm actually going to cancel this because I have GP already open. So let's bring it over here. I just want to show you this real fast because this is going to show you just the kind of performance that you get. And a lot better performance than, let's say, if I was connected through a VPN. So you can see I'm just on my home screen, and it's just down here in my toolbar down here. So it looks just like I had it installed locally. I'm not RDPing up to a different computer. You can see I don't have any of this full screen issues or whatever that may be. But we'll come here and we'll just show you. I'll just do a quick journal entry. You can see how the performance works. Very nice. Here, I'll just pick a quick count here. We can see how quickly that's loading. And then we'll do another one. And we'll go ahead and post that. And you can see that just quickly posts, no problem. And again, I'm not connecting across multiple layers here. So I'm literally on the machine that this is connected up to the database. So I'm not going to see, we do not see kind of the one-sided entries, as much batch recovery that there may be, that you may even see on a local install while you're in the network. All right, so then I'll show printing here. So you can see I've got a report here. So let's just hit the printer. And as I do that, it's just going to bring up my printers that I have installed on my local machine. So again, no need to map those up to the hosted environment because I'm just working basically on my local machine. I have access to all the resources I have on my local machine. You can see this is a printer in the office, so I could just print that and it would go right out to my office. You can even too, if I was saying I was at home, and for whatever reason I needed to print something to the office. Maybe I'm sick, but we still got to get checks out, so I'm going to run our checks and I'm going to print them. I could pick a printer in the office and have it go there. Or maybe we've got 5 locations, but we do all our printing locally because we want to mail everything from the same place. Someone in a different location could print to a printer directly in the office as well. That's our printing there. And then I'll just show you too our integration with Office. So I'm going to go over here to Smart List. And let's just do anything here, payables transactions. You can see again, just like normal speed here, it loaded those with no problem. And then I can just hit Excel. Oh, I'm not logged into Excel. Let's do that real quick. And there it pops open and shows me my spreadsheet. And again, that's my local Excel, just loading right up, no problem. All right, so that's just to give you just a quick taste of what that would look like on the virtual desktop with GP. Also, as far as like getting this over to migrating to this, for example, this is no different than if I need to get a new server. We can do this in a pretty quick fashion, probably even have you up, within days if you wanted to switch over to that. So it's a pretty fast process. We can spin up our Azure resources that we need. Then we can move your databases over, install GP, and you're off and running like nothing ever happened. We also have the ability to take advantage of using pooling resources because the virtual desktop just it handles that for us. So if we need to have two virtual desktops up, we can do that, and the Azure will automatically pool those resources as needed. We can even shut one down at night because maybe we don't need all the resources. So we have a lot of flexibility with this, and we can make that work for you all. All right, so the last thing I just want to mention, I'd be remiss not to, is Business Central. So Business Central is a cloud-hosted Dynamics product. So this is a product that Microsoft has moved from an on-prem to a cloud version. You can see it just opens up in a web browser. If we see right here, just opens right up in a web browser. This can literally be spun up in an hour, and you'll have a version of Business Central that you can use. So just some things on it. This is formerly Dynamics Nav. So if you heard of Dynamics Nav, Business Central is the same thing. They've just rebranded the name. That product has been around since, 90s. Same thing as GP. Microsoft bought them about the same time. And Microsoft made a decision that they were going to take Nav and move that to a hosted version, kind of for the mid-size businesses. So that's what this is. Business Central is just Nav rebranded and made into a hosted version. One difference is they are named user license model, and it's a monthly license model. So you're going to pay either $70 or $100 per month, depending on what you need. And it is named user. So whereas GP is more of a concurrent user base, where let's say I have 20 users, as long as only 20 people are logged in at one time, I could have 50 people signed up for GP. Business Central is not that way. It is named user only. So everybody needs a license. But the good news about it is it's easy to add and subtract users. So if I need to scale up, this is an easy way to scale up and use that. As I mentioned, it's web client only, so there's no local installs. Very easy maintenance on this. Microsoft handles all the spin up and everything. All you have to do is click a link and you're in. It is easily customized. So whereas GP is a little bit tougher to customize, this is not. Business Central, we have a team of 5 or 6 developers here that all they do is work on Business Central customizations for our customers. We're the third-party ISV model that you're probably used to with GP. It's not. There are some for Business Central, but because it's so easily customized, it's less prevalent over there. We also the upgrades happen automatically. So you're used to at least probably once a year, because the 1099's changing so much, having to upgrade your system, and you have to pay us to do that. You don't have that with Business Central. The upgrades happen automatically. Because of the way that the system's customized using what's called an extension model, there is no need for us to do anything. Microsoft just tells us, hey, we're about to release this, you schedule it, and then it upgrades automatically. It's also very strong in the supply chain and manufacturing models, where GP is a little bit weaker in the inventory modules, supply chain and manufacturing. Business Central is a little bit stronger in those modules, MRP, things like that. And then finally, we have simplified integration. So we're all used to the integration managers or whatever there may be for GP, where it's a little more file-based. Business Central is a little more modern in that way, that we can use APIs a little bit better, and we can move data back and forth in a little bit more modern fashion. So that's Business Central. Like I said, I'm not pitching that. I just want you to know it's out there, that is a tool that can be used, especially if you're looking to go hosted. And it's very affordable, and it's a very nice product. It also, if you're current on your enhancement, you kind of can be grandfathered into these licenses from your GP. So that's something you can talk to Tara or Bobby about, and get details on that. All right, so that's the end of this. We've got GP in the cloud. Just know we do offer that Azure functionality. If you want to host it, you want to get a little bit more flexible on your GP, how you access it, we have that available. All right, back to you, Bobby.
All right. Thank you very much, Matt. Great information there regarding Dynamics GP, about hosting in the cloud. And we now have a few minutes for some questions. I know that our team has been monitoring the Q&A. If you have a question, absolutely drop that into the Q&A here. We'll have a couple of minutes here for questions. And then additionally, if you are interested in the presentation slides or the video recording, please again, just drop your email into the Q&A and we'll get that sent to you as well. I do see that there are a couple of questions that have come in as well in advance. One is around, can you package up users and support with GP? And the answer to that is yes, you absolutely can. Just get in touch with myself or Tara. We'll be happy to get that information to you and go over your options there for you. Another question that came in is talking about, Matt touched on Business Central, asking about if there is a migration path to Business Central. I see that actually Matt is on here with us. So Matt, do you mind to quickly just touch on maybe a little bit of that migration from GP to Business Central and kind of what that looks like a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So there is a tool for migration, depending on how which version you're on of GP, you can use that. It will bring over your master records, and then it does bring some transactions. So GL, it will bring over AP, AR, and inventory turns. So that's one option to go. We also have really good knowledge of what the GP tables are and the BC. So if there's additional things you want to bring, or there's a lot of cleaning that needs to be done as we bring that data over, we can help with that too.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's one of the big benefits is us being a Dynamics GP and Business Central partners, that we have knowledge in both systems. And so we can really get your data out pretty efficiently from GP and into Business Central. And then I saw one other question has come in. Again, if you have a question, please drop that into the Q&A. We'll try and get that answered either here live, or we'll be happy to follow up with you after the session or after the user group today. Question is about if people are interested, do the enhancement prices change with going to hosted? The answer to that is no, your enhancement will stay the same, as that enhancement is related to your licensing with Dynamics with Microsoft on the GP pool. So that your enhancement will stay the same and move into the hosted platform for GP. Again, if you have anybody at your organization that's interested in our user group, joining a local user group, please get in touch with myself or Tara Cox. I'll share our contact information here in a minute, and we'll be looking to set up a kind of a regional user group Dynamics community session. So if you're interested in joining that, please get in touch with us. We'll be happy to share that information with you. All right, any other questions before we wrap things up? If you have that, please drop that into the Q&A. and we'll get that answered for you. All right. I don't see any other questions coming in. Again, if you think of one afterwards, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and we'll be happy to get in touch with you. First up, next steps here, a few little bit of homework for those of you in attendance. First, be sure to complete that session evaluation prior to the end of the day, Monday, so that you will have a couple days there to get that completed. And once you get that submitted, you'll be entered into our drawing for one of our giveaways. Secondly, if you have any questions, any support needs, any concerns about GP in the cloud, or you're interested in migrating to Business Central or looking at Azure Virtual Desktop, please reach out to your TrendSoft contacts, your technical team members, myself, or Tara, or Matt, and we'll be happy to have those conversations with you and get you that information, as we certainly want to help your team better use your systems and the technology that's available. Third, give us a like or a follow on any of the social media platforms. We're on Twitter at TrendSoft. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn as well. We're often posting different news updates, release information, webinar information across all those platforms. So give us a follow so you can certainly stay up to date. And then finally, visit our website, trendsoft.com, as we have a blog that is pretty actively managed, and we're constantly putting out updates and content and different information to share. So please bookmark that to your browser and be sure to check those out. All right, with that, thank you so much for attending today's Dynamics GP session. On behalf of the entire TrendSoft team, we would like to say thank you to each and every one of our clients and attendants for taking the time out of your busy day to participate in this event. We look forward to continuing to partner with you as we move forward in the future. With that, we'll let you have a few minutes back of your day and hope you each have a great day. Thank you.